we're having a cooking lesson today. I'm not really going to call anybody out on who needs the lesson, but I do want you to know it is for someone in my June fitness group. Okay, here's the deal. Today we're going to be making beans and rice. And I know it's a pretty complicated recipe. And so I'm going to go over it step by step, including making the rice, which for many people is a really difficult thing to do. So through the miracle of video, I can bring you this entire process. Now I'm going to cover the ingredients first. Here we've got brown rice, right here, long grain, organic brown rice. Now you don't have to use organic, but organic is the best. Now we've got organic pinto beans. That's right, pinto beans. You can see I use the Wegmans brand because I'm a Wegmans girl. Not all of you are that lucky. Here we've got Bragg's liquid aminos. Now, they're the shit. If you've never had them, then you're missing out and you need to go to the store and pick some up. In fact, pause this video, run to the store, and go get the liquid aminos. We've got some olive oil. You're going to need that. Olive oil you should use for everything, including putting it in your hair. It is the world's most perfect food. We've got some cumin, some ground cumin. And then I like to also use roasted ground cumin. That's just my personal thing. I like the extra flavor. We've got some coriander, some paprika, and we've got some Himalayan pink salt. Those are the ingredients. Now step one is really adding the rice and the water and getting them to boil. And essentially here's all you need to know when cooking rice. It's 2 to 1. So here I've got a cup of water and it's filtered water. So I also here, you can see I have a cup. That's what that 1 stands for right there. Those of you who aren't experts in the kitchen. I've got a cup of rice. So that means I need to add another cup of water. So you can see here I'm pouring more water. And then I'm going to put that in there, and you don't have to wait for the water to boil with rice. You just put that rice right in there first. Now, here's a little secret for you. Rice, brown rice, it always needs just a little bit more water than 2 to 1, so I put in another extra half cup. And to be honest with you, I'm not really much of a measurer usually, but with rice, I measure. Okay, now, you can see, pay no attention to how dirty my stove is. It's on high flame, and we're just going to let it be there until it boils. Full attention. Now you'll see we've got a full-blown boil going on here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn that flame all the way down. I mean low. Low. Look at that. There's barely nothing going on there. See that? Almost off. It's a slight boil. Then we're going to put a lid on it. Cover it. And now we're going to set a timer. And we're going to put on 50 minutes and we're going to hit start. And now we're not even going to pay attention to it anymore. Here, look, it's going. And now through the magic of photography, you'll see that I've magically changed into my workout gear. So while we've got 49 minutes and 38 seconds left, I'm going to run downstairs and get in a workout while the rice is cooking. I'll be back. I'll see you right back here. Don't go anywhere. Wait for me to come back. Okay, as you can see, we're now out of time. So we're going to just turn off the flame. So we'll turn that off, and then the trick is you need to fluff it up a little bit, right? So here's the rice. It's all cooked. We're just going to fluff that a little bit. And then I'm going to cover it back up, and I'm just going to let it sit there for maybe 5-10 minutes. We're back. We're back to cooking with Julie. And really what's left now is simply just to mix it all together. So here is what you really need to know. I'm not very good at measuring spices, so I just sort of shake, and the things that I like the flavor of more, I shake heavier. So I have a really heavy hand with cumin, and I have a really heavy hand with Bragg's liquid aminos because I love the flavor. The other thing is that it's usually like a 2 to 1 ratio of rice to pinto beans, right? So a recipe, if you're just making it for yourself, is like 1 cup of rice to half a cup of pinto beans. Now, you can go heavier on the pinto beans if you want. It's totally your call because you're the one who's going to be eating it. I sometimes put in more, but sometimes I don't. It really depends on how I'm feeling. So here we go. Let's mix this stuff up and do a taste test. So through the magic of television, I already have the rice and beans all measured up, and you can see I have a cup of rice and a half a cup of pinto beans. So what I do is I'm just going to throw that in the pan there. So there's the rice all in there, and then the pinto beans. And you can see here, there's a lot of liquid in there. I didn't drain out the liquid. I leave that in there, unless you're at like the bottom of the can or you're putting in a whole can. Then I usually will like drain out some of the liquid. Okay, now you stir that up a little bit, but you don't have to stir it a lot, and we don't have the heat turned on yet. Okay, so now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the olive oil here, and I'm just going to put in just, a little bit. Now, it's like a teaspoonful, but I just measure a little bit in there. Not a lot, to be honest with you. You don't really need a lot, but just depends on how you personally feel about olive oil. And then next I put in the Bragg's liquid aminos. Now I like a lot of Bragg's, but you put in as much as you want or as little as you want. So you can see it in there. There's a lot in there. And then that's it for that. Now I just put in the spices, and I just put in whatever. So I've got ground cumin, and I'm just sprinkling that in there. Now, like I said, I like cumin a lot, so I've got a heavy hand with cumin, right? But, you put in whatever you want, and you got to season it for what works good for you. And then there's also roasted ground cumin, which I also like, so I'll dabble some of that in there. And then the only two other spices that are left is some coriander, which is good and it's got some really good flavor to it. And then we're going to put in some paprika, okay? And the only thing left that we need is some Himalayan salt. Now, I only have 2 hands, and the Himalayan salt has to be ground, so there's the bottle of it, and I'm just going to grind some in there real quick, so hang on. Trust me, I put salt in there. Now I'm going to turn the flame on here, and I'm not going to put it real high, just at a medium flame. So I have to warm it up, and then I'm going to stir it up. Now the rice was already warm because I had just made it, so it doesn't have to cook for a real long time. And I gotta tell you, this particular meal, even if you like pack it and take it to work to lunch the next day, you don't actually have to warm it back up if you don't want to. It tastes good either hot or cold. So we got this there, and we'll let it heat for just a little bit. Not a real long time, and we're gonna let that warm up for a minute or two. And there we have it. There is our completed dish of beans and rice. And here's the deal. I'm just going to give it a sample. I'm going to taste it, and we'll see what it tastes like. In the words of Thomas Hansen, oh my God.